I got it. How about a little heel turn?
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen, for another episode of Turning Heels, episode 2. We are your host, John Siino and B Detroit. B Detroit, what's going on, man?
What's up, Siino, man? You know, just kicking it, trying to get hit hard, like, you know, dragging off and Walter, but you know.
What a fucking week. And we were just talking off air about how, like, for some, the weekend of wrestling, like, is finally over after CM Punk and TakeOver, SummerSlam, and Up Next Summer, and the Tailgate. But mine is just getting started. I mean, obviously we have to watch this show. And then after this, I have to watch, 40 plus hours of wrestling for Shot in the Dark. So hopefully by Thursday, I'm hoping by Thursday I can get some sleep. But, and then, I have to prepare to go to Chicago. So I feel like this is my profession now, is covering wrestling. But,
God bless you.
But it's fun. It's fun.
Somebody's got to do it. Yeah. If it's anybody that can do it, it's you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. What I don't appreciate is your decision yesterday. Let's get right into it. This is the Up Next Summer Hangover Show. As I'm drinking on my cranberry grape juice right here to help me soothe my sorrow of losing to the Brit in the 6, Davey Portman.
Oh, man.
I had to give it up to him.
Man.
I think I took it easy. I think I wrote 16 bars. I was like, you know what? Let me just take it easy. Didn't think nothing of it. And
you didn't do your homework, man.
Fuck. And this dude went and like did a whole performance and had the hype man in the back and the pyro going off. He won it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna say I got demolished, because I went back and looked at the votes, and the votes was like Davey, Siino. That made me feel a little bit more comfortable that people were voting for me. At the end of the day, it was your choice. You made the right choice. But we got the mission accomplished. The mission was to put the title on Fire Frank. So it doesn't matter what the outcome was. I could have won or lost.
That's right.
Frank still won. And that's all that matters. Get to Chicago. We're going to bring the BDE title with us. That's and anybody wants some, come get some. It's not like the 24/7 title. So I don't want anybody to get their, get any ideas about trying to attack Frank from behind. But
yeah, Brandon was kind of treating that BDE title like Jack Spade. So we had to get it off of him. We had to get it off of him. Shout out Fire Frank.
We had to get it off him.
Up Next champion.
But just really quick, I mean, what did you think of TakeOver? Since that's the one show, the more recent show last night.
You know what? I think all the matches hit for me, especially Dragunov and Walter. That match. Okay, I had a lady friend over watching that match with me, and she's like, she haven't seen wrestling in like 20 years. So like since like Attitude Era, maybe like a little bit after that. And she's like, why are they so brutal now? Why do they hit each other so hard? Now I'm like, yeah, like we can't keep doing bra and panty matches every night. So this is what we do now.
I have to admit, I love Dragunov. Like, it's people gonna think I'm crazy, but like my wrestling fandom was always like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels. Then I went to like CM Punk, Daniel Bryan. I have to admit, my next is Dragunov. Every time this guy wrestles, he puts on, and don't get me wrong, Walter is amazing too. But something about Dragunov, his aggressiveness, his body was like he just fucking went through war. Like this dude went through war. And I tell people, I know you don't want to watch NXT UK, but do me a favor, whenever Dragunov wrestles, whenever Walter wrestles, watch their matches because they're amazing. So I'm hoping that if NXT is going to become developmental, maybe NXT UK can become what NXT is, and hopefully Tony Khan doesn't watch it. It doesn't know what's going on over there.
I don't know, because everybody has to see that Dragunov match. Oh. You know what? I can't even just point it all at him. Walter is great. I don't know why Vince McMahon hasn't like pulled him up yet, because that song, his entrance, when Walter comes to the ring,
he was lean.
Crazy.
Like he looked really good last night.
His face is real slim now. He usually like a little chubby in the face, but yeah, you can tell he's putting in some work.
Yeah, that's the one thing I'm
pretty sure he's going to get that call too.
That's the one thing I would have added at the end. I would have had maybe like a stare off between Walter and Joe just to get people like hyped up for that. Because Walter has to stay now in NXT, I guess. I don't know. Maybe he's going to get main roster. Who knows what's going to happen with NXT and everything going on there. But I could tell you what's happening in the Duffy Wrestling League down in Duffy, Georgia. I know everything that's going on down there.
The Duffy boys.
We're going to get into episode 2 here called Dusty Finish, which doesn't really make sense as a title because there wasn't really a dusty finish. There wasn't any wrestling at all in this episode. It was all off. Yeah. So I'm guessing they're just using titles for episodes that wrestling people know, like terms, because like I'm expecting like an actual dusty finish to happen in this show, but there was nothing.
I'll allow it.
let's do it. So they start with a recap from last week. If you guys didn't listen or watch the episode, basically, Jack shooted on his brother Ace. He didn't want him to leave and go to the competition, so he submitted him. The crowd booed, and they have a big falling out. And that's the main premise of this episode: is will Jack and Ace come together and rejoice? So we start the show, and the first thing we see is a sex scene between Ace and his valet Crystal. They're just having sex. And in contrast, we see Jack at his house. And the first thing he does when he wakes up, takes his good old trusty laptop and just already starts writing the script for the next show. And it says Jack versus Ace. So I guess he's writing some sort of rematch because it says right there, him against his brother. So something's going on. And then he gets up and we see this huge gash on his back from his match last week with his brother. And we find out that, like a lot of indie wrestlers, they have a regular job, a 9-to-5 job. So Jack heads over to his a lawn mowing shop, I guess, a shop just dedicated to selling
kind of like
lawnmowers.
a hardware store looking, I would say he's just a lawnmower salesman, I guess.
And of course,
that's pretty clear.
He has this very young dickhead young boss named Tim. Everybody's had that one boss who's like a lot younger than you. He might have gotten the company from his dad or something happened, and he's like 20-year-old kid telling us grown men what to do. Have you had that before, B?
No, I have. I would say that because my supervisors are like hire their kids and stuff like that, and they'll just try to wreck shop through everybody. But yeah, it's so crazy. That's
the worst. And of course, he's an asshole. So he's like sitting in Jack's chair, and Jack's like, "Oh, that's my chair," and he's like, "Well, you're late, so it's my chair." And then he has the line, "Oh, what happened to your eye? I thought wrestling was fake." And we're all like, "Okay, this guy's a fucking asshole. We're not supposed to like this lawnmower boss here." We go to the boys in the locker room from the Duffy Wrestling League. We have Diego and Rooster, and they're watching some more of Florida Wrestling Dystopia. And we see some more TNA footage. We got Rob Van Dam this week, Abyss, Judas Messias, if you remember him. And also...
Completely forgot about that guy.
And also Relic. Do you remember who Relic was?
Relic? No. Wasn't he on like Wrestling Society X a couple times?
Relic was the former Johnny the Bull that was in SmackDown. He went to TNA and he became Relic, which was killer spelled backwards. Really, really fancy. And
clever.
He put a mask on and he was starting shooting blood. It was like this really weird gimmick that he had. So they're watching some more TNA footage, I guess. And Charlie Gully, who's the promoter of the Wrestling Dystopia here, he has a message. He's like, "Jack Spade, all those hacks in the DWL, the South belongs to me." And it seems that Rooster and Diego are really into this. They're really interested in what's going on in their competition here. But
you know what? Those guys, they're just looking at the crowds, I guess, because I don't understand why they're so infatuated with their crowd. The Duffy Arena looks packed every time they do a show. So
yeah, we find out later on it could be more than that. It could be, a money thing. It could be like a push thing. Obviously Rooster, we'll get into his story later on, but he obviously has more gripes with it. But it feels like Apocalypse definitely is loyal to the Duffys. To the Spades here in Duffy Wrestling League, because he's not really into this as much. So as we're talking, we have Bobby Pinn who walks in like an alien, I guess. He has like turquoise body paint on, and everybody's looking at him like, "What the hell's wrong with you?" And he's like, "I tried not to be an extra yesterday in a superhero movie. They didn't use me. They cut my part out, but I decided to just keep the paint on and make a brand new character here called Turquoise." What do you think of Turquoise? You think he can get over in today's wrestling?
That was the most 80 gimmick I ever heard of in my life. Turquoise. We could have seen that like 95 WWF though, right?
Yeah, for sure. But like everybody knows that body paint in wrestling just is a disaster. The paint's going to get all over your opponent. It's going to get on the mat. It's just don't do it. And obviously, obviously Willie Day, the promoter here for Duffy, she comes in and she has no interest in this at all. And the boys are kind of like pestering her, asking her, what's going on with this show this week? They haven't heard from Jack. Tickets haven't even gone on sale. Are we even going to do a show? And Willie's like, "Don't worry about it. It's fine." Jack's writing the script. But as she leaves, the boys are mad. They're sick of this drama. They're saying, because of Ace leaving, everything is just upside down here. Apocalypse is the only one still trying to stay positive. He says, DWL is fine. And Rooster cuts his promo. He says, "Listen, if Jack is going to treat his own brother like this, what happens when one of us gets a title shot?" And that was like, ooh, that's a good point right there. If he treats his brother like this, what's going to happen to us? We go back to the lawnmower shop, and Tim, the 26-year-old asshole here, he's trying to sell a lawnmower to a customer here, and he makes the hot tag to Jack, and Jack comes in and he cuts a promo about a lawnmower. He's like, when my dad had one, I used to ride with him and sit on his lap, And he let me drive it sometimes. And now that I have my own kids, I let them drive it. And, and you got a little cup holder here for your beer. And he's going on about this lawnmower. And then the customer says, well, listen, that's all cool and all, but my son, he needs a little exercise. And I'd rather have a push-in lawnmower. So Jack is like, all right. So he tries to sell him that instead. The customer's like, never mind. And he leaves. And Tim is all upset saying, this guy came in here with all this money. He's driving a Ford truck out there and he wanted to buy a riding lawnmower and you didn't sell him that. And they go, back and forth, a little scuffle here. And the only reason why you're hired here is because my granddad liked you. And then he says, go home and get your wife's makeup and cover up that black eye you have. What do you think?
That was the funniest line about that.
What do you think of the promo that he cut on the lawnmower? I mean, obviously Jack knows how to talk. He cut a promo about a lawnmower.
Yeah. I mean, well, he said his grandfather hired him for a sales pitch. So he must have been moving a lot of lawnmowers back in the day. So
I never had my own place. So I never actually mowed the lawn. I always wanted to. I'm not gonna lie, especially the riding ones. It seemed like fun. It's not fun.
You don't want to do it. It's 91 degrees outside. You can come mow my lawn right now. If you want to.
That's true. Maybe it's not. Maybe like a one-time thing. I treat it like a roller coaster. It's a lawnmower. It's pretty cool. But I never had to do that. My cousins did. I would always go their place. They had their own place. So they'd see them mowing the lawn. I thought it was always a pretty cool thing to do. But obviously with the heat, it's probably not. So we go to the house where we see Stacy, who's Jack's wife here, and Thomas, and they start hearing some noises from the attic. And Stacy goes up, and I'm not gonna lie, I saw this when I was still trying to wake up, and I got fucking scared. There was a jump scare. I had no idea what it was. I didn't even know it was a squirrel. I had to rewind it 3 times because all I saw was something jump up. I'm like, is this show have some supernatural horror elements to it? What's going on here?
Yeah, Stephen Amell is just a dick to throw a no reason jump scare in a wrestling TV show. What was that?
Fuck, man. And then on top of that, the wife takes a bump. She falls off the ladder. I'm like, she's like Jeff Hardy over here. She does a senton off the ladder because she saw a damn squirrel. And then they're like, oh, I'll talk to your dad later when he comes home about it. And as soon as Jack comes home, he doesn't give a fuck about his family. He just grabs a beer. And Stacy's like, hey, listen, I need to talk to you about some issues around the house. And he's like, I got to go write my script. So Jack is a fucking terrible ass husband, I feel like. What do you think?
I think he's just so hurt from, he messed up with that screw job. I'm calling it the Duffy screw job from now on. That's what we're going to do.
For sure. And then obviously throughout the episode, Stacy is trying to get through to him and talk to him. They have a little blow off later on, but obviously the issues are present in the Spade household here. But we go to the other brother here, Ace and his valet girlfriend, whatever you want to call her, Crystal. They're playing Cuphead on the Xbox. Only reason I know that is because my son loves that game. I'm like, oh, look, it's Cuphead. And the whole time Ace has been calling Wild Bill nonstop because obviously from last week's episode, Bill came there to try to scout him, but Bill's dodging his calls. He's not answering his calls. So Ace is just leaving voicemails over and over again. And the funny part, he's trying to leave this voicemail. And as he's talking to him, you just hear the mom in the background saying, dinner's ready. Because Ace, still lives with his mom. And he's like, Mom, I'm on the phone with work. It's a business call. Everybody can relate to that, living with their parents and trying to have a serious phone call while not having the other person know that you're still living with your mom.
See, what I picked up on that, when Ace was on the phone with Bill and he's like, yeah, I'm just sitting around with my dick in my hand. Well, in a woman's hand. Why are they always putting Crystal so down on the pole, man? Why did everybody hate Crystal so much?
I feel so bad for this girl. I really do. She gets her moment. She gets her moment later on, but I feel bad for her. Like you said, she just gets treated like shit. So another funny moment here. They go downstairs and Mama Spade made casserole, but she only made enough for 2. And Ace is like, give her some. And she's like, it's only made for 2. And he's like, the funniest line for me, Mama, it's a casserole. We can share it. It's not like it's just casserole. It's cut her a piece.
Hate Crystal. Jesus.
I feel so bad for her. And she's just like, she doesn't sit down. She's like, all right, I guess I'm going to get the fuck out of here. And she leaves. Yeah. And Ace doesn't even follow her. The mom follows her, which I'm just Ace. Ace does not give a fuck about her at all. So Mama Spade stops her and is like, so have you asked Ace at all, how he's feeling about this whole situation? And she's like, no, not really. And the mom's like, oh, so you guys pretty much have been fucking all day long because I can hear it through my walls. And not one time did you ask him how he's doing. And then she cuts a promo on Crystal and she's like, listen, you guys aren't really partners. It's all fake. It's all scripted. This relationship is fake. Mm-hmm. He's not your boyfriend. You need to leave him alone and he has to have a real life. I'm like, fuck. So last week, Willie hated her and now the mom is hating on her. Crystal, poor Crystal. She needs to go to fucking Florida.
Turn heel on this family. Why does she like them so much?
She needs to turn heel on them and she needs to go to Florida Wrestling Dystopia or whatever over there and see if they can treat women better. So speaking of Dystopia Wrestling, we have Willie here who goes to a diner and has a meeting with Charlie Gully, who is the promoter of the Florida Dystopia Wrestling. And Gully's trying to talk about this wrestler he has called The Hole, who has a lot of heat because he has a barbed wired nipple ring. Yeah, that sounds pretty good.
A lot of heat. Tons of heat.
And then he says, the Duffy Wrestling League is a joke. Jack turned on Ace. And DWL is dead, and he just wants to buy the dome. I guess he wants to turn it into a performance center or something. He's like, I need more room. I need more room. So I just want to buy the DWL, out of business. I want to take him out. And then he reveals that he's pissed off at Jack because I guess Jack went on Post Wrestling and some other podcast, and he just started talking shit. He shows a video. He shows a video.
Jericho's podcast and goes off.
He's like, he went on Cole Cabana's All Wrestling. He just started talking shit about me. So that's why Gully is upset, I guess, because of all the podcasting that he's doing. Willie says that Gully's show sucks, and they aren't connecting with the people in their stories. They just have violence and blood. And the DWL fans, they don't give a shit about the wrestlers. They only give a shit about wrestlers in their promotion. And then one day there'll be the competition, even with a fifth of the budget that the Dystopia Wrestling has. And then Gully ends it by saying Jack's ego is going to be the downfall of the DWL, and you should jump ship before you go down with it. What did you think about this meeting with Willie and Gully? Because my first instinct was, why is she having a meeting with the competition unless she knows him from something prior?
It seems like she got a tip that he wanted to purchase, and that's why they kind of set up the meeting. But I don't think it was anything past that,
You don't think she has any bad intent of jumping ship?
Because she seems like the only person in the show with a real good heart. So, yeah, I think it was just that. She got a tip, nothing more.
That's true. But I feel like I watched the promo, and he really didn't say nothing bad about Gully too much. I don't know why Gully is that upset that he wants to take the Duffy Wrestling out of business just for this. Yeah,
I mean, he's giving half off tickets if you never step foot in DWL again. So who knows?
So we go back to Jack, who's at his home, and he's watching a podcast. It looks like upNXT. There's two guys talking. I'm like, oh, it's Davey and Braden. And it's two guys complaining about the finish to the Jack versus Ace. They're like, your typical wrestling fans. They're like, oh, we waited all this time for Jack versus Ace, and they give us a 26-second finish. I'm like, are they talking about SummerSlam and Bianca? What are they talking about over here?
Oh man.
So the wife for the fifth time in the episode is trying to talk to Jack about those fucking squirrels, and Jack's like, I don't give a fuck about these squirrels. The kid's like, hey, can we keep them as pets? And he's like, that's a good idea. And I'm just like, dude, get the fuck off your computer, get off your phone, and go do something. The lawn's fucking up to here. There's squirrels in the attic. He's not doing shit.
But he hasn't written the script yet.
That's true.
What are you doing? Are you staring at the screen?
Yeah, he's not doing shit. And he goes to work and he can't even fucking sell a lawnmower. What are you doing? Go be a fucking vigilante or something. Go save the city. Do something. So he gets a phone call from Willie Day, and she talked to him about her meeting with Gully and him trying to buy the dome. And in his best AJ Styles impression, he goes, "Oh, fuck him. But then he goes, how much was he trying to buy it for?
How much was he trying to say? Yeah.
So it's he obviously was pissed off, and he's like, well, how much money was he really trying to?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What this sounds like? This sounds like all the promoters of all those territories when Vince McMahon was taking over the US, and they're all like, oh, I'll never sell out to Vince McMahon, but then they're smiling, and it's like, okay, yeah, you can have Florida Championship Wrestling. That's what it pretty much reminded me of.
Yeah, you could just have it, Vince. Yeah, go ahead.
So then Willie starts asking about Ace and Jack, and you guys going to patch it up? What's going on? And he pretty much was like, no sells in, just kind of hangs up the phone. He doesn't want to talk about his brother at all. We go very quickly to Crystal, who goes home, and she's just tired. She just wants to go inside. And her little brothers are there, and they're just little backyard wrestling federation on the trampoline. And hey, Crystal, come wrestle with us. And she's like, I'm tired. And they're like, come on, Crystal, you do the best suplex that we know. And of course, that's our way of knowing, Crystal knows her shit, because her little brothers want her to go in there and do a suplex. So she goes in there and Suplex City. She fucking gives her brothers 38 German suplexes? Nah, she didn't do all that. She didn't do all that, but she did deliver some suplexes. So obviously Crystal knows her shit. So this part, I know how to describe this. So Wild Bill finally calls Ace back, and Ace right away is like, yeah, thanks, Bill, for calling me back after 37 voicemails. Tell me, how does this developmental deal works? So Bill says, obviously we sign you, and then after 6 months, we just release you and show your match on 205 Live. No, that's not what he said, but That's pretty much how it works in NXT developmental. But Bill realistically says he kind of like dodges the question, and he's like, well, you know, I kind of have to reevaluate the situation, and the ending that you had between you and your brother didn't really go as planned. I kind of expected you to do more, pretty much saying that he got pussied out. And then he recommends him jumping ship to Florida for FWD, the Florida Wrestling Dystopia. He's like, hey, listen, I think what you should do is jump to the competition and make a name for yourself. And, you know, Ace is kind of like, you can tell he's pissed off about not getting a developmental deal. And he's like, whatever. And then we kind of, so can you explain what the hell Wild Bill was doing? Because he's on the phone the whole time, but we see him in a hotel standing butt naked with what, a dog collar and a leash around his head? And
no, it's the cowboy collar I told you about last week. He had 3-piece cowboy, the Wild Bill cowboy collar. I told you. So
you
can't take it off.
There's a reason why we call him
with that girl.
There's a reason why we're calling him why they call him Wild Bill. He's got a dominatrix in a hotel room. He's up to something, obviously. That's why he missed 37 phone calls. We go to Jack and Stacy, his wife. They're in bed, and Stacy kind of has enough of this shit, and she just kind of like is like, listen, Jack, you don't spend time with your son. You know, he wants to learn how to play soccer. You know, you can't even teach him how to play soccer. And Jack is like, well, he could just go, you know, how hard can it be? He just goes outside and he kicks the ball around the grass. And she's like, yeah, but the fucking grass is so tall, he can't even play. And then she brings up the squirrels again. They get into this big argument. And then she gets even more upset because he hasn't even tried to patch it up with his brother Ace. So then she says, I'm just going to leave the room and I'm going to sleep on the couch. Now, me personally, I've never had my significant other be the one to sleep on the couch. Even if I start the argument, I somehow be the one that gets the couch at the end of the night. I don't know how, like, glad for her to actually get up and actually sleep on the couch. I was shocked by that.
Yeah, Jack, he's got it made, man. He can't write a script. You sleep in the comfort bit of the bed and your wife sleep on the couch. You can't. Okay, I'm done with that guy.
Jack needs to take like his real life home issues and make that into a storyline. He has so much shit going on at work. You know, he has a pretty much the Stone Cold Vince McMahon saga going on in his job with his asshole boss. He could just take that and make it to a storyline, but he can't write a script between him and his brother. It doesn't make any sense. But before she leaves to sleep on the couch, she has one last dig, and she's like, oh, you know, I like the couch anyway. The couch feels better because, you know, instead of buying a new mattress, you spend all our money on the pyrotechnic system instead. Oof, burn. We go back to Mama Spade. She's at the house and she gets a phone call that Big Jim and his wife, Big Jim is the wrestler from last week who said he's going to retire to have a family. They get a phone call that she's in labor. So she goes to tell Ace, and she finds out that Ace has ran away. Ace, like a young 15-year-old rebel kid, he opened the window and escaped out the window. So she calls Jack to come over and find him. Crystal joins in to help him. And Mama Spade still hates her. Mama Spade is like, listen, this fucking girl showed up before you. It's like, dude, leave her alone. Like, why does everybody hate Crystal? For your son. And the crazy part is, like, this Crystal's not even a bad girl. I can understand that she was like a bad influence. Like, she's over here taking drugs and doing this. She's not. She's like the opposite. No. She's like the sweetest girl in the world.
She's actually like helping Ace book matches and stuff, like putting them together. I mean, she might be like banging them really loud in his mom's house, but like, I mean, that's comes with territory.
Yeah. I mean, that's the perfect girl though. Like, she's like very nice, and she's like, you know, trying to find him, and she's writing the script, like you said, and everybody just hates her for no reason. So she's obviously worried about Ace, but Jack says that he notices that his secret spot that they used to hide the bottle of whiskey, the whiskey bottle's missing. So he says that Ace is probably in their spot called the Lucky Stand, which is a spot that they used to go to when they were younger and run away from their parents and all that, just to hide. So he's like, yeah, that's where he's got to be. So as they're driving over there, they kind of have a heart-to-heart moment between Jack and Crystal, where they both admit that their parents were alcoholics. So, you know, they obviously went through a lot of the same stuff. But when they get to the Lucky Stand, they realize that he isn't there. Instead, we find Ace at a bar where Rooster, I guess, has a part-time job as a karaoke host. So everybody's doing karaoke. Pretty funny here. And then Ace is like out of it right now. He's fucking drunk.
Oh, and, yeah. He drank that whole bottle of whiskey walking to the bar. So he's out of there.
And Rooster's like, oh, I'm going to get a cab for you. And Ace is like, where can I put my name down? And Rooster's like, what are you talking about? It's just a cab. And he's like, no, for the karaoke. And we're like, oh, God, he wants to sing. So he does get up to sing, and everybody, this is a small town, so obviously everybody in the bar knows who he is. A lot of these guys went to school with him, and he goes up there and he starts singing this very sad song.
Oh man.
I don't even know what he was saying. Like, you know, lyrics is a very sad, depressing song. He went up there.
It was a sad cowboy song that even made himself cry while he was singing. I almost cried a little bit.
Yeah, he was legit crying on stage. And then there's some guy there from high school who is trying to talk shit about him, like, oh, get out there, stop crying. And he says something about, hey, do you remember when I was a freshman and I struck you out when you were a senior? And the guy's like, no, I don't remember that at all. But obviously it's close to your heart because you still bring it up to this day. Just came back with a burn, like, damn. So as he's crying, Jack and Crystal show up because they got a phone call from Rooster saying that he was out there. And the boos get stronger. They get off the stage, you suck, whatever. And then Ace goes back into his heel persona. He cuts a promo. He tells everybody to shut the fuck up. He says, your life sucks. All you guys do is come to this shithole and sing. You guys have nothing. This place sucks. Fuck y'all. Fuck this place and fuck Duffy. I was like, fuck.
Turn this man heel already. Come on.
Like, he already has everybody hating on him. And now he's got the whole town just turning their back against him.
How could he not want to get booed? And we'll get to that. Go ahead.
So then the same guy from his high school, he just goes up there and starts calling him a bitch and a pussy. So they start getting at it. And then, Rooster's trying to hold them back. But then Traby says the ultimate line, you're not going to wrestle because wrestling's fake. And of course, this sparks Ace to get in there. So then Jack jumps in here and the fucking Spade Brothers tag team is over here taking everybody out. Crystal's in there. She gets involved. There's chair shots being thrown out. Big brawl. Everything gets broken up. Rooster gets pissed off.
Jack breaks out a Uranagi.
He does. He does do a Uranagi at one point.
Yep.
So Rooster, it's his Rooster's bar, I guess. So he kicks everybody out. He's like, listen, if you're going to destroy my shit, get out of here or whatever. Now that you guys are outside, you guys can do whatever you want out here. So then the guy Trady says some line about their dad or something like, oh, you guys are just pussies just like your dad. And out of nowhere, Crystal hits a huracanrana.
Crystal Rana, baby.
Which I called last week. I was like, listen, when Crystal starts wrestling, she's going to start doing some crazy shit. So I had a feeling she was going to do that. So just pulls up a huracanrana out of nowhere. And that's it. They just leave. They get into the car. And Ace is fucking shit face. And he's like, I want to go to the diner. I want to get burgers and french fries. And Jack's like, no, we have food at home. And Ace is like, yeah, but it's the casserole. And even Jack is like, nah, fuck that casserole. Let's go get some burgers and fries.
But did you even hear when they first got in the car, Chris was all excited. Like, did you guys see that? That's my new finisher.
Yes.
They completely no-sell it.
No selling her. Like, poor girl. She's like, I've been working on this move for the past 6 months and nobody even cared about it.
Oh, man.
Poor Crystal. So, excuse me. After driving over there, Ace just gets really dark. And he starts talking about big black hole. He's like, what would happen if a big black hole came here and just swallowed all of us up? Everything is dark and everybody's dead. And, usually when people see death, there's no screaming. There's just silence. And then it's all over. And Jack and Crystal are looking at him like, dude, you're all right. I mean, me personally, it was kind of comedic in a way, but I feel like this might be an issue with Ace. Yeah. I feel like he definitely has some demons. Obviously, we know about their dad. It looks like he might have killed himself, right? We didn't get explanation exactly why, but it looks like definitely their dad did die that way. So it looks like maybe Ace might have some issues that he's trying to drink away.
Yeah, it's really taking a toll on him. You can tell.
So as they go back to the mom's house, Jack drops off his drunk brother in bed. And of course, when you're drunk, you just say things that you either do mean or you don't mean. He just says, I hate you, Jack. You're just a lawnmower salesman. You're not a genius and you ruined my life. And Jack is like, yeah, whatever, man. You're drunk. Just call me in the morning. So as they go outside, Jack and Crystal have a little moment. And Jack says that Ace didn't even want to wrestle. He says he feels like it's his fault. Like he pushed him to do this after their dad died. So Jack is feeling a little bit responsible here for, I guess, pushing Ace to do something that really that Jack himself wanted to pose to his brother. And then Crystal says, hey, listen, at that bar tonight, Ace was like a perfect heel. Like he went up there and he cut the hell of a promo. And he thinks that the whole thing about Jack trying to break his arm, that was great for the storyline. So obviously Crystal, long-term booking here. She knows what's going on in the Spade household. And nobody else seems to understand this, but Crystal's like, listen, push this guy as the ultimate heel. But Jack just obviously no-sells her.
She's the ultimate booker. She's been booking everything in this show and nobody's listening. Poor Crystal. Poor Crystal.
We go back to Jack. He goes home and he tells his wife that he's thinking about possibly selling the DWL Dome to Gully. And then they just randomly start having sex in the kitchen because why not? It's on Starz. So the next morning, pretty funny line here. The kid's like, Mommy, Daddy, I think I heard squirrels in the kitchen, because obviously the squirrels.
The whole squirrel angle was just for them to bang in the kitchen.
That's it. Bring up the squirrels just for the kitchen sex scene. They end up going to the hospital. Jim and Melanie finally have their baby. And then Stacey kind of has a little line here. She's like, listen, you don't have to go all out. You don't have to go crazy. You don't have to sell the whole freaking promotion. I just want you to spend a little bit more time with the family. That's all I'm asking for. We go to Rooster, Diego, and Apocalypse. They're watching more clips of FWD, and they see Judas Messiah stricken his own blood here. Like, oh, this is great. Rooster's impressed by this. He's like, look at all those fans. We should possibly think about going there. And Gully's definitely paying more money. And then he, out of nowhere, he's like, and listen, I think I deserve a shot at that title. And if Gully comes, I'm definitely going to listen to him. And Apocalypse is like, listen, don't do that. Don't do that. He's like, Rooster, you just think that he's like, you're not on top because you think that DWL won't put forth a black guy. And Apocalypse says he himself was on top at one point. We got like little, like, I guess, little like topics about this throughout the show where he mentioned earlier about being sober. And now he says that he was on top of the DWL, but I guess something happened to him and he got fired and had to go to rehab. But the Spades did take him back and actually like gave him a job. So he's obviously faithful to them. But he's bringing up the fact that maybe Rooster feels like he's not being pushed because he's black.
Mm-hmm. Well, Apocalypse, I think in the first episode, he hinted that he did some jail time.
Yeah, I think so.
So I guess it looks like the DWL like gave him a shot after he got sober and clean and gave him the belt and gave him a big push. So of course he's going to stay low to those guys. Yeah,
but I actually I like this little twist here, this little side story here where Rooster feels like he's just not being the top guy because who he is possibly. And Apocalypse Apocalypse is playing like the more like loyal to the company type guy. Like, hey, listen,
topical. This
exactly,
is extremely topical.
For sure. And of course, Diego chimes in the background. He's like, hey, when are they going to push a Latino? And they're just like, all right, guy, like, what? It's not about you right now. So Apocalypse is like, listen, instead of like jumping ship to the Florida wrestling, why don't you just speak to Jack? What's the worst that can happen? Let him know that you're ready for the top spot. See what happens. So obviously we're going to see this probably in the next episode or so. So then they're all ready to see the baby. And then Bobby Pinn says out of nowhere, he's like, oh, this is great. Even Charlie Gully sent a big thing of flowers to Jim. And then we pan over there and it says, congratulations from your wrestling family in Jacksonville. So I guess Tony Khan, because they got to send them flowers. But this is actually pretty interesting. This is interesting that Gully sent Big Jim flowers because last time we heard Jim was set to retire. Now, what I thought out of this is, he's trying to recruit Big Jim. He's trying to get him to come over. So I feel like this is, you're in the same wavelength as me. You think that he might be jumping ship?
Yeah. Big Jim needs money. He says he's going to retire just so he can support his family. But if he can do something he loves and make the money, I think he might just jump ship. And I don't think those guys should hold him back for that either.
They're not, but the thing is, like, the relationship that they had already is like Jim is supposed to be like their best friend. He grew up with with Ace and Jack, so obviously they're going to take it hard. And then it's like you look at Jim, and he's like the ultimate babyface, and you look at what they're doing in Dystopia, and it's like all blood hardcore. So it's like, how's he even going to fit in over there unless he totally wants to? Last we heard, he didn't even want to be a heel; he wanted to be a babyface. So kind of interesting that
face Abyss for some reason. I don't know.
He's like, listen, I just want to go over there and just have a monster's ball with Abyss. So Mama Spade comes in and she tells Jack, hey, listen, your brother is outside and he's not even going to come in here because he feels embarrassed about what you did. Why don't you go out there and talk to him? So Jack goes out there and he cuts a promo on his brother. And he's like, listen, I can't hold a job. You can't hold a job. We're pretty much wrestlers. This is all that we can do. Our family's fucked up, but I need you. You're my brother. We need you. The fans need you. And then Ace is like, listen, if Wild Bill comes back here again and he tries to scout me, I'm leaving. And Jack is like, listen, I support you 100%. Don't worry about it. And then Ace is a really interesting line here. He says, hey, listen, I don't ever want to get booed ever again. And Jack says, don't worry, you won't. So that was kind of interesting because I feel like they're pushing to something with Ace.
And that's where I was kind of stuck at. I'm like, okay, how is he going to convince him to turn heel? Because it's too perfect now. They live in that small town. Everybody hates Ace. So how do you not expect to get booed? What's wrong with you?
Yeah, they're definitely going to do a double turn at some point. Like, I feel like Jack is the ultimate baby face. He just doesn't really want to show it because he's trying to be real business-like and professional, while his brother's the more outlaw heel. So they see the baby. They're all rejoicing with the baby. They leave, and Jack tells his wife, hey, listen, I spoke with Ace. We patched it up. And also, I won't be selling the Dome. But it's okay. We'll take a vacation. Don't worry about it. And then he says, hey, listen, can you put some of your makeup on my eye? And she's like, do it yourself. And she just walks off. So she's pissed off. Now, I don't understand this because, like, she's back and forth. Like, she tells her husband, listen, you don't have to sell your wrestling thing. And then he says, okay, I don't sell it. But then she gets pissed off. Yep. And he also just patched it up with his brother. So it's like, am I not getting it? Or it's just us as men, we just don't understand what's going on. But she seems
just over it, kind of,
Like, what did she expect him to say? Like, he said, hey, listen, I did what you told me not to, and I didn't sell, and everything's good. And she's obviously pissed off.
Yeah.
So Jack gets a text message. He's like, hey, listen, I need you to go to work. Someone called out. He gets there. He's late. Tim is already with his shit in the morning. You know, your boss in the morning is already like, hey, listen, you told me an hour and a half late and you're here 2.5 hours late. Jack doesn't give a fuck. The funny moment, he goes into a room, he pulls out a chair and he's holding the chair in his hand. And Tim is like, ugh, like he backs away thinking he's going to get a chair shot. And Jack just opens it up and sits down. He's like, nah, I'm just trying to do my work. Like, leave me alone. That was pretty funny.
But Tim still runs out of the room. Like,
he just gets the fuck out of there. He thought he was going to get a chair shot to the head. He's like, I saw you in wrestling already. And also, like, before he got in there, he didn't even put the makeup on his eye. He's like, he just went in there with the black eye and everything. He's like, fuck it. This is who I am. This is what it is.
Good for him. Good for him.
So then we go to the finish here. Stacy, she's at her house, and she, like, the whole episode, she didn't want to go back and watch the match between Ace and Jack. And she finally did. She watched it in disgust, shaking her head, saying, wow, this is pitiful. You know, they took the babyface here, and he's getting booed here. And then in the ultimate babyface, I don't know if it's a heel turn or a babyface turn from Stacy, she pretty much said, fuck this shit. Jack isn't around. I'm taking over this fucking house. She pulls out the BB gun. She goes in the attic. She shoots the fucking squirrels, throws them in the trash, dusts off the lawnmower, cracks a beer. I'm like, this is Stone Cold Stacey Austin over here. Like,
That's funny. I wrote down, oh, hell yeah, Stacy cracks a cold.
Like, this is fucking awesome. She's like, I mean, I don't condone killing animals, but she took the BB gun and just fucking shot. They're dead. Like, I thought maybe they're dead. She's carrying for the tails to throw them in the garbage. But this is great moment. She's like, pretty much like, listen, I don't need my husband. I'm doing all this shit on my own. She saw her son out there. Fucking poor kid is trying to play soccer and he's tripping over the grass because it's taller than him. I'm just like, oh my God. So, I wrote down here, cracks the beer and fuck yeah, America. That's it. Cracking beer and driving lawnmowers. And that's it for the episode. Did you see the preview for next week's episode?
I did see the preview for next week's episode.
So Mr. Phil Brooks is making his long-awaited return to Starz.
Yes. And what is his character again? Ricky Rabies, right?
Ricky Rabies, yeah.
Yeah. So he's like a wild man character. He looks crazy.
He's a wild man, but the ladies are going crazy over him. And then we kind of see a little beef between Rooster and Ace as well. Like, Ace is saying something, I guess, maybe about being a top face, and Rooster was like, listen, you cry like a bitch in the ring. You can't be a heel. You can't be a baby face, whatever. Yeah. And then you can see they got into a little scuffle. So obviously Rooster is trying to get that push in episode 3.
Rooster was already kind of looking at Ace like that in the last episode. He told like he hasn't did anything and he's in the main event tonight. So we can tell that dissension was going to come. I think Rooster might be the first person to flip over and go over to Florida. So. I think
so. I think between him and Big Jim, I think Big Jim is going to do it. And that's going to be like also one like the big stories like, hey, this is our lifelong childhood friend and you're going to, desert us and go to the other wrestling. Overall, this episode was okay. I mean, there was no wrestling at all, which is kind of like a little letdown, but I understand them trying to develop the characters. You need like one episode or two like that where you have to kind of show out of the ring, but I was expecting at least something in the ring. Just, something just to show that, hey, it's a wrestling show. But it was a good episode. I think next week we're going to get probably more wrestling, obviously, with CM Punk being in it. Should be pretty interesting to see him acting. I've seen a little bit of his acting. He's good. And obviously, the whole world's talking about CM Punk right now. So what a better time to promote it? Maybe we'll get some promotion on AEW. You never know. We might see like Stephen Amell pop up or something. He hasn't made an appearance yet on AEW. So that'd be pretty cool to see him on there.
No. I think isn't Punk doing a private screening for that episode?
Yeah, that was supposed to be this past Friday. Remember, that was a whole swerve he was trying to say to people. He's like, "Oh, I can't show up to Chicago that day because
I thought he was going to legit do one still. I knew he was going to show, but I thought he was going to legit. That was still kind of cool.
Well, it's funny because he said this is last Friday when he debuted it. He's like, "Yeah, I have a screening for episode 3 of Heels," and I'm like, "Wait, well, episode 2 didn't even air yet." So I'm thinking maybe that's going to be this Friday coming up. He might have the screening for that, so that'd be pretty cool.
That might be dope. Yeah.
But any last thoughts on the episode? Any ideas of
pretty good character building episode? Not too bad. I like the whole drunken Ace scene, the bar fight. That was kind of fun to see some wrestling moves in the bar fight, which can never happen in real life. Nobody ever do a huracanrana. If you're in a bar fight, you will lose. So
imagine trying to do a huracanrana while being drunk. You just fucking fall on your neck and just call it a night.
Yeah, you lose.
No, but yeah, it was a good episode for like the developmental characters. I'm really interested in what they're like. Apocalypse. I want to know more about him because he was kind of like, I want to know more about his story. I'm not going to do flashbacks or anything, but obviously he owes a lot to the Duffy Wrestling League. I want to know more about Ace and his dark persona. Like, it looks like, I don't know if he's going to transform to the Fiend or what, but he was having some really dark premonitions here, it feels like.
I kind of want to see some clips of old man Spade out there,
I think so. I think we're going to, because if you look, they show a lot of posters. They show like him and Wild Bill in their old days. And I'm pretty sure if I looked at the cast, like they did cast the father. So I'm pretty sure they're going to have some throwback. I would love to see like a whole throwback episode just to see like, wrestling in the 70s. That'd be great. See Wild Bill in his prime as a wild man.
They had 3 ladder matches. They need to show me one.
But a good episode. It wasn't as good as the first episode, I think, but I feel like with CM Punk next week, we're definitely going to see a lot more wrestling and a lot more development with all the characters. But the show still has me invested. I mean, I'm still going to be watching, obviously, not only for the podcast, but even if I wasn't, I think I'd still be watching this. Stephen Amell's good. He definitely reminds me of a combination of AJ Styles and Cody Rhodes. He has like that Southern persona, but he also has that business mind that comes with it.
He knows how to play his role perfect. He's been bred for this role.
So that's it for this episode. But real quick, I know you're going to be with Braden and Davey on Up Yours reviewing Juice, which I've been waiting for a long time. You teased it last year when guys did 8 Mile. You said you're going to do Juice, so this should be pretty cool. Why'd you pick Juice? Just one of your favorite movies? One
of my favorite like urban coming of age movies. It's not that many out there, but like that movie showed me that you can do multiple things. And when I was younger, because you didn't have a rapper who was acting and doing all these different things. So Tupac was the first, and he did a great job. His performance in that movie is pretty good. If you haven't seen it, please watch it before the review happens. If you plan on listening to the review, you will love it. Yeah, great movie. When I heard about that, I was really excited about it. Just do me a favor. Just don't talk shit, you and Davey, about the rap battle too much. Just mention it one time and that's it. Well, listen, DJ battle in the movie, so I'm pretty sure we can't get to that. That's true. Yeah. But if you guys haven't listened to or watch Up Next Summer, do it right now. Twitch.tv/UpNext podcast. It was a great time. Great. Everything was great about it. The Fire Frank reveal. It was so stressful going into this, honestly. Like, just do it. Like, first of all, try to keep it a secret. Like, even Frank didn't know about half of this stuff. He didn't know about like the QT Marshall and the Fuego del Sol promos. I had to like escape from him and go shoot those promos on the other side of the building to do that. So that was great. And then obviously super dope. Dickie's idea for the Fire Frank Funhouse. As soon as he said that, I was like, oh my God, that's fucking genius. And my first thought was, my son has like 500 puppets. Like, I need to go and start filming these puppets. So I went back and like, I went to my parents' house. I had some of his old puppets. I had to go there and dig them out. I found the pig. I'm like, Davy Porkman. And dinosaur. I'm like, Jurassic WH Park. And then as I'm leaving, I'm like, this is great. And as I'm leaving, I see in my parents' kitchen, they have one of those old school bass fishes. And I'm like, John Pollock, the fish. I was like, this is great. This is great. I've been trying to break that video down into GIFs for like 3 hours. Oh now, my God. I'm hoping, waiting, if you're listening to this, I'm hoping you read an essay the same way he wrote an essay for Bray Wyatt and John Cena. I wanted to break down frame by frame. There was so much more. There was so much more in the background, like little Easter eggs and a lot of footage that we filmed that we didn't get a chance to use. Like we have like Kane's book, Journey into Darkness, that Frank is reading about, like, Kane's story, because, Fire Frank and Kane. We have like the Pollock and Tink cassette tape is in the background. We have like a Kyle O'Reilly action figure. We have the Gary Michael Capetta WCW book, because he was on the British Wrestling Experience. Like little Easter eggs that we were able to throw in there. Dropping subtle hints. Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. It was great. The whole thing was experience. That was my room, by the way, that we filmed in. The whole thing was in my room. So it was great. And of course, Frank's performance, amazing. Oh my God. I tried to like do my best Quentin Tarantino. I was like, do this, do that. And then we just started filming it. And Dickie took the best parts and he fucking created a masterpiece. I was like, holy shit. He's making us look like fucking like an actual like movie studio over here. It was fantastic. Watch it if you haven't. Hopefully the next event we can do more. If we ever end up being in person, Chicago, Davey, I'll be seeing you in person. So we'll see what happens. He's not gonna have Braden Harrington behind his back this time. So can we get a battle number 2 in person in Chicago? I don't know. I think my rap career, I think is done after losing to Davey Portman. I think I have to resort to something else. We'll see. Oh, no, I'm scared you away from the mic. Anything else? Any last words you want to promote? Anything you got going on? That's it. Just I'm asking people to follow my Twitch now, because I'm gonna start streaming at Cool Game Big B. So just follow that. Yeah, you're telling me you're gonna do some Fire Pro Wrestling? Yeah, I'm gonna do some Fire Pro, some just book some matches. Nice. That sounds good. So definitely let us know when that's up and running. We'll check it out, and you can check us out here next week for another episode of Turning Heels.